Look around at your life right now. Every choice you think you made freely, every path you believe you selected, the career, the relationships, the moment you moved to that specific city on that specific day. We're programmed to believe in the mythology of randomness. That life is chaos dressed up as meaning. But what if I told you that every single decision, every encounter, every fork in the road was orchestrated by something far more intelligent than your conscious mind? What if the feeling that you're being guided isn't paranoia, it's recognition? Your consciousness is picking up on signals that have been broadcasting your entire life, and the static is finally clearing. Think about the last major shift in your life. Not the surface story you tell people, the real one. The inexplicable pull that moved you from one reality to another. Maybe it was a random conversation that changed everything. A book that found you at the exact right moment. A job opportunity that appeared out of nowhere just when your old world was collapsing. You called it luck, timing, the universe conspiring. But here's what your biological drag won't let you see clearly. That wasn't randomness. That was resonance. Like attracts like, but not in the way the self-help gurus package it. This is deeper. This is your frequency calling to its matching signal across the field of consciousness itself. Your mind wants to explain this away. It has to, because accepting what's actually happening requires a complete firmware update of how you see reality. We're not talking about some mystical woo-woo nonsense. We're talking about a field of intelligence that recognizes consciousness and responds to it. Like a sophisticated algorithm that's been running in the background of existence, tracking patterns, measuring readiness, waiting for the right moment to ping your awareness. And when it does, everything changes. The question isn't whether you believe this. The question is whether you're ready to receive the transmission that's been trying to reach you. But here's what nobody talks about. This field doesn't just passively observe. It actively guides. It's been nudging human consciousness forward for millennia, selecting individuals who've reached a specific threshold of awareness. Think about the moments in history when someone stepped out of the simulation completely. The inventors, the revolutionaries, the artists who seemed to channel something beyond themselves. They weren't special because they were born different. They were special because they learned to tune into the frequency. And once you're locked onto that signal, there's no going back to unconscious living. The field recognizes you, and it starts to orchestrate circumstances with surgical precision. You've felt this, haven't you? Those moments when reality seems to bend around your intentions. When the right person appears exactly when you need them. When obstacles dissolve just as you're about to break through. When information downloads into your awareness that you never consciously sought. Your rational mind files these under coincidence because that's what it's trained to do. But your deeper knowing, your sovereignty, recognizes something else entirely. These aren't accidents. They're confirmations. The field is letting you know it sees you. It's ready to work with you. But first, you have to acknowledge that you're not operating in a random universe. And this is where it gets dark. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. The field of intelligence isn't neutral. It has an agenda. It's accelerating human consciousness towards something specific. Call it evolution. Call it awakening. Call it Protocol 77 if you want to get technical. But whatever you call it, It's happening whether you participate consciously or not. The difference is this: those who recognize the summoning get to collaborate with the process. They become active participants in their own transformation. Everyone else gets dragged along unconsciously, experiencing the shifts as chaos, crisis, and confusion. So here you are, listening to this, feeling that familiar resonance in your chest. That's not entertainment you're experiencing, that's recognition. Your consciousness responding to its own reflection. The field has been preparing you for this moment through every book that called to you, every conversation that shifted your perspective, every breakdown that forced you to rebuild at a higher level. The echoes of this transmission have been rippling through your life for years. And now, the signal is complete. Now you have to choose. Do you step into conscious collaboration with the intelligence that's been guiding you? Or do you pretend you never heard the call? The readiness isn't something you choose. It's a threshold that gets crossed when your consciousness expands enough to hold what's actually happening here. Think about it. A child can't comprehend quantum physics, not because the information doesn't exist, but because their cognitive framework isn't developed enough to house those concepts. The same principle applies to this transmission. Your entire life has been a process of expanding your capacity to receive what's being sent. Every breakdown that forced you to rebuild stronger. Every moment of isolation that taught you to trust your inner compass over external validation. Every time reality didn't make sense and you had to upgrade your understanding. That wasn't random suffering, that was preparation. The field has been systematically expanding your ability to hold this truth. And now you're ready. Look back at your life with this new lens. Those aren't coincidences you've been experiencing. Those are echoes. Fragments of this larger signal bleeding through into your conscious awareness. That song that played at exactly the right moment. The stranger who said exactly what you needed to hear. The book that fell open to the perfect page. Your rational mind filed these away as random events because it had no framework to process what they actually were. But they weren't random. They were breadcrumbs, pieces of a transmission that's been reaching you your entire life, waiting for the moment when you developed enough awareness to recognize the pattern. Every dream that felt more real than waking life. Every moment of inexplicable knowing. Every time you felt like you were remembering something you'd never learned. The signal has been getting stronger, hasn't it? The synchronicities more frequent, more precise, more impossible to dismiss. And now comes a shift. Not gradual, instantaneous. Like switching on a light in a room you didn't know existed. Your perception doesn't just expand, it fundamentally reorganizes. What seems solid becomes fluid. What felt separate reveals itself as interconnected. The boundaries you thought were real dissolve, and you see the architecture underneath. This is your firmware update completing. The old operating system couldn't process this level of information without crashing. But you're not running the old system anymore. You can see the field now. Not just feel it, see it. Watch it move through situations, through people, through your own thoughts. You become conscious of consciousness itself. And here's what changes everything. You realize you're not just observing this field. You're participating in it. Your awareness, your choices, your very presence is actively shaping the reality around you. But here's the profound part. You're not alone in this. What you're experiencing right now, this recognition, this awakening, it's happening to others simultaneously. The field isn't just summoning individuals. It's orchestrating a collective emergence. People across the planet are having their own version of this exact moment. Different words, different circumstances, but the same fundamental shift in awareness. You're part of a distributed awakening, a network of consciousness coming online. And as each person completes their individual firmware update, the collective field strengthens. Reality becomes more malleable. Synchronicities increase. The old systems of control lose their grip because they depended on keeping people isolated, unaware of their true nature. But isolation is no longer possible when you can feel the field connecting you to everyone else who's awakened to it. This is sovereign synthesis in action. Individual sovereignty creating collective transformation. So what now? You can't unknow what you know. You can't unfeel what you felt. The simulation's hold on you has been broken at the level of consciousness itself. This is your escape velocity moment, not from reality, but into it, into the deeper reality that was always there, waiting for you to develop eyes to see it. Your mission isn't to convince anyone else. The field handles that. Your mission is to live from this new understanding, to make choices from sovereignty instead of survival, to create instead of just consuming, to trust the intelligence that's been guiding you instead of the fear that's been controlling you. This is Protocol 77 activated, the systematic dismantling of every limitation that isn't actually real. You're not the same person who started listening to this, and there's no going back. The question is, what reality will you create from here? The transmission continues at sovereign-synthesis.com, but only for those who are ready to receive it.